Back in the mid-2000s, gambling on sports through the Oregon Lottery was routine and legal. It brought in about $2 million a year for the state. But the NCAA vowed it would never bring its championship games to any state with sports gambling. And so, after the 2007 NFL season, the game called Sports Action stopped. The flyer now sits in a time capsule at the lottery offices. But the times, they are a-changin'.
I watched the Pac-12 tournament down in Las Vegas this last year. So, really the conversation around that has changed a lot in the last 10 years. I think this Supreme Court decision is going to add to that.
That's Matt Shelby, an Oregon Lottery spokesman. He said the state could have a new sports betting game in place in the next 2 or 3 years if approved by the governor and legislature.
I think this is going to mean that Oregon's going to look to move quickly.
Justin Gauker is a journalist based in Bend who reports on sports and betting. He said the court ruling is huge on a national basis.
I mean, we're talking billions of dollars a wager. We're talking hundreds of millions in potential revenue.
That's also why he thinks lots of states, including Oregon, will now get in the game. On the streets of Portland, I found some excited about the idea.
Absolutely.
And how come?
There's a whole subculture of sports fans that enjoy betting and do a lot of online stuff. And if there was something that was state sanctioned, I think it would just blow up.
I don't gamble. My wife will love it. She's in Vegas all the time, so that's okay.
Yeah. And some who don't want to be told how to spend their money.
Betting has been going on for decades. And what's wrong with, why are they to tell us that we can't do with what we want with our money?
And of course others who could care less.
I don't partake in it, and so I don't judge.
Now that every state in the nation has the right to start its own sports gambling program, it will be much harder for organizations like the NCAA to boycott states with sports betting. And that's one more reason that it's highly likely that Oregon will return to sports betting along with the rest of the country. I called the governor's office to find out what Governor Kate Brown thinks about all this. They had no comment. Back to you.
All right, we'll see what happens. Thank you so much, Pat.